Hey everybody, and welcome to the top 5 military surplus rifles under $500 in 2023. I am Mike B, and today we've got a pretty cool selection. Whether you're a new collector or you already have a collection and you're looking to expand, but you don't want to pay an arm and a leg for most surplus nowadays, I've got this list for you. It's pretty neat. This is just me compiling a list of 5 rifles from the past about year and a half, price-wise. I don't use Gunbroker or local gun shops, exclusively for the kind of figuring out the value of these things. I have other little hidey holes online. I've made several videos. If you want to search my channel, you can find little links to videos that I've made about where to get military surplus firearms. And I know the market is getting ever increasingly more expensive, but there are still rifles to be had. My kind of personal thing is I think anything over $500, if you're looking at it from a utilitarian standpoint, you can get a commercially made rifle nowadays for around that price range, probably a little bit cheaper, and then you can get an optic and have it meet that same price range. So we're going to be talking about mainly collectability, even though these are functional pieces of history. So with that, these are just my opinions. This is not a stone cold fact. I know your mileage is going to vary wherever your location is or where the amount of resources that you know or have to get these rifles, but this is just my experience. And these videos I've been doing for a few years now, and people like them. I do them once a year. And again, I usually compile. Like last year, I had a couple friends get some of these rifles, which I'll explain briefly, etc., etc. So, all that being said, I think that's all I really need to cover as far as the caveats and the disclaimers. And I'll just spend a couple minutes on each rifle telling you why I think it should be on this list, and then we'll go from there. So let's get started. Starting at number 5 on our list is the Argentine 1891 Mauser rifle, chambered in 7.65 by 53 millimeter. So again, as the name says, it was adopted in 1891 by the Argentine military. It was made in Germany, and these are one of my favorite Mauser variants ever. They just look elegant. They're super smooth, very easy to handle, great shooters. I mean, absolutely insanely accurate. Now, my price range on this is going to be for one without the crest on it, the Argentine crest. About 99% of these rifles have the crest ground or defaced or removed in a very nice way, but they didn't want to have that fall into civilian hands, so a lot of these are going to be ground. Mine is not, so mine's going to be worth a little bit more, but 99% of them are what we're going to be basing this price on. So for the 1891 Argentine Mauser, you can find these in the rifle configuration, not sporterized, even though a lot of them are, for between $350 and $450. Now, the ammo is still commercially produced by Prairie Partisan, and they import it, I think, once or twice a year. It's great shooting ammunition. It's fantastic stuff, and if you reload, their cases are really nice. So, yeah, these things are insanely accurate, very smooth, fun to use, and just an elegant-looking weapon. I absolutely, just super smooth. It's a cock on closing, so it's got some oomph when you open up the bolt. Anyway, so yeah, these are pretty affordable, and some of them are actually antiques. They were made by two companies, Ludwig Löwe in the 1890s and 1891, and then there was a later production run in like 1901 or 02 from DWM, and those the Ludwig Löwe ones in the 90s are antiques, so you can get that as long as you can own an antique firearm in your vicinity. But the later manufactured ones, which is the same exact rifle with a different stamp on it, like same exact rifle, just produced a few years later, you need a collector's license or an FFL to acquire one. So that in mind, the antiques go for a little bit more, but most of them are about 50-50, so there you go. All right, number 5 on our list is the 1891 Argentine Mauser. And number 4 on our list is another Mauser. You'll notice I'm a bit of a Mauser fanboy, plus there's a billion of them out there and all these different models, so it's kind of hard to not like them as far as bolt-action military surplus rifles go. This one is a very underrated one. It has been for years, and if you think I'm going to be the one that's influencing the price in the market, climbing up in price, I'm flattered that you think I have that much influence, but it's not me that caused that. It's a combination of things. I'm pretty late to the game as far as being able to influence the price of military surplus stuff. So that being said, because I know I get that on every video, like, oh, if you make videos like this, it's just going to increase the price more. It's going to increase itself anyway. I'm just saying that, hey, if you're new to collecting especially, these are great rifles to get into the game with and not have to go bankrupt and to get a second mortgage doing so. So we've got the Swedish M96 Mauser rifle, chambered in 6.5 by 55 millimeter. Arguably one of the flattest flying, most user-friendly, great rounds ever devised, in my opinion, as far as a military cartridge. And the Swedish M96 rifle is just an absolute masterpiece as far as a bolt-action military rifle. The bolt itself is super smooth, cock on closing. It's probably the smoothest Mauser action next to like the 93 or even the 91. But it's absolutely perfect. I love it. And the recoil on this is not too stout. So if recoil is a factor for you, this is a great variant to get. A lot of people don't like, like the Argentine Mauser and the Swedish Mauser because it doesn't have that, it was in my war factor, right? But they're still excellent pieces of history. Finland did use some of these in a very small capacity in the Second World War. But anyway, that's what keeps the prices a little bit lower than a lot of other things like the K98 and whatever. So keep that in mind. And yeah, so I absolutely love it. This is hands down my favorite variant of the Mauser rifle ever made. It's just, I cannot say enough good things about it. I know I stroke it in every freaking video that I make, but hey, it's for a reason. If you are a fanboy of these, let me know in the comments because they're absolutely great. Now, the price is the best part. These can be had for between $300 and $450 depending on condition and whatnot. And also some of these are going to be antiques as well, which always increases the price. So between $300, I've seen some of these go sub $300 at online auctions. No, again, not Gunbroker. So if you can get one of these for under $300, you are paying the price that we were paying like 15 years ago for them, and it's worth every penny. Even if you have to pay $450 for a nicer one, absolutely worth it. There's other people that I know that have gotten their first one this last year, and they've paid within that price range that I just said, plus it's what I've seen them going for. And they absolutely freaking love these rifles. These are, again, it's my favorite Mauser variant. I think it's perfection as far as the Mauser family goes. Anyway, number 4 on the list. The ammo is manufactured, again, by PPU, but it's, the only reason the Argentine and the Swedish Mauser are lower on the list, it's really not an order thing, it's just the ammo is a little bit more difficult to get. So, number 4 on our list is the Swedish M96 Mauser. Number 3 on our list is a little bit of a break from the Mauser family. We've got the Mosin Nagant M9130 rifle chambered in 7.62 by 54 rimmed. So yeah, this is the subject of many talks and rants over the past few years, myself included, about how these used to be $70 and now they're, a little bit more than that, which we'll get into. But however, they're still a great piece of history. There's a lot of them made. They're very easily accessible, and the ammo is also very easily accessible. It's both commercially manufactured and still used by the Russian military and militaries all over the world. So at 7.62 by 54, you can pretty much count on being able to feed this past your lifetime. And anyway, as far as the actual bolts go, it's not the most user-friendly and crispy and elegant weapon like a Mauser rifle is. But here's the thing, with most Soviet and Russian technology, it works, it's built tough, and it's a great rifle. And these can still be had in this condition. So this is just a 1942 Shavsk refurbished rifle, post-war. And it's in really nice shape because it was refurbished. And these are going to command about $375 for just a standard one like this. Not a special year or anything. We're not going to get into the variants. That's with any military surplus rifle. I'm just talking about a plain Jane model like this. So we're looking at about I'm going to say between $325 and $425 for a 9130, just based on all the common markings and the little variations in condition and stuff. So $325 to $425. We're going to say medium is going to be, or like the median is going to be like $360, $375. So in that price range, they're kind of all over the place right now because nobody can really decide how much they want to pay for one, but you get the idea. So yeah, number 4 on our list is going to be the Mosin Nagant M9130. Coming in at number 2 on our list this year is one that's been on the list for the past couple years, and rightfully so. A lot of these Carcano Model 1891 cavalry carbines, chambered in 6.5 by 52 millimeter, were imported to the United States in 2020. They're still pretty cheap and affordable, even though the stocks have been dwindling, because this is just about the last, I guess, flood of military surplus bolt-action rifles that I expect to be seeing. Hopefully I'm wrong. But these were actually, they came in and they were very affordable. So I have been recommending these to new collectors and people that just want to expand their collection like myself for years. Now these can still be had if you don't care about the bayonet, latch, or button style, or the year of manufacture or whatever. These can be had for $200 plus shipping, of course, and are Hero and Relic firearm eligible, or you just get shipped to your FFL. These are fantastic pieces of history, and they're very underrated because of the flood lore shit that's been going around forever. Well, it's the Italian piece of shit, whatever. They're actually decent rifles if you can get them to run right. Some of them, just like Mausers and Mosins, are going to be a little bit more difficult to work with, but that's on a case-by-case basis. It's not the inherent design, in my opinion. I've had great luck with Carcano rifles, both the rifles and the carbines, but since these are so cheap and affordable, and they make a great brush gun. If you're hunting in really thick vegetation, you can get some pretty good loads for these, the modern manufactured ammo, and it's a great brush gun from what I hear. Obviously, I mean, the bayonet, that's a little extreme, but you get what I'm saying. They're very small, very compact. And the only thing that really sucks about these and why I didn't place this number 1 this year is because of the fact that so many were flooded in so quick at just a very short amount of time, and the market's been flooded. That also means that people who want to shoot these things bought out all the ammunition made by a privy partisan, and they've been trying to keep up, struggling, and that has increased the price. And I think they only do like one import a year, so that does suck. So what I would suggest, though, is if you're on the fence about one of these are almost sold out in most places that I've seen that have had thousands of these, right? Once these are sold, they're on the secondary market, and the price is going to go up. PPU still makes the ammunition. These haven't been made in decades. So I would, my kind of advice to any military surplus starting collector is acquire the hardest part of the kind of platform to get, which is the rifle. And then the bayonet is second if you're into that sort of thing. In this case, it doesn't matter. And then worry about the ammunition that's commercially manufactured nowadays later. So a little tidbit of advice on there. But anyway, that's the only reason this didn't score a little bit higher is because of the lack of ammo. And surplus has been dried up for years and it's all collectible now and not super reliable. Otherwise, I would have made the #1 list. But let's see what made #1. I think basically for most of the time that I've made these videos since about 2016, the Turkish M38 Mauser comes in first place, or at least the top 3. These things are still very affordable, and for what they are, it's one hell of a bargain and a deal. So these can be had from, I'm not joking you, $200 to $350. You might pay a little bit more for a nice one. I'm just talking about a plain Jane example like this that's not necessarily pretty, but it's a good shooter, reliable. It's a 98 action. It's a Mauser 98 action. And I've never had a problem with one of these. Everybody says, oh, the bores are shit on them, they're dark. Well, they might be dark, but they're actually still pretty damn accurate with even surplus ammunition. And so these things can go from $200 to $350. Some of you have been seeing them go for more, but that's the price range that I've consistently seen them and sold them and bought them at in the past year and a half. So that's where I base my numbers off of. Now, these are chambered in and by M38, I'm talking about the 1930s upgrades / the M38 rifle. There's no real official designation for this. Collectors just call this one the 98 action that was made in Ankara itself, the receiver. They call that the M38, but there's like the 1893s and the 1903s that were upgraded and Gewehr 88s as well, that were upgraded in the 30s to fire the 7.92 with 57 millimeter, and they get rebarreled and stuff. So that's what I'm talking about in general. And some of these variants are going to be cheaper, some of them are going to be more expensive, but you get the idea. These are extremely underrated, and again, I'm not going to be influencing the price that much because they've been pretty much the same since I started making these videos. It's gone up a little bit just like everything else, but these are still one of the most affordable rifles. I've even told people that are fellow gun tubers and other collectors, I said, just try one, and they have, and they're like, okay, yeah, you were correct. It's actually a great piece to have in the collection, and for a new collector, it's extremely affordable. And it does still have that never went to war thing, but that's not entirely true because in 1950, UN troops from Turkey were actually going to Korea with these before they were issued US stuff. I have photographic evidence of that. I've put that in other videos, and I'll probably make a short on that pretty soon. Anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Again, these are just my opinions and whatever. If you've got any of these rifles, let me know also in the comments. And yeah, that's really all I've got. It's a tough collection market now because you got to pay to play, but it's still doable with things like this. Yeah, so there's that. And these are also prices for the US. Like in Canada, I know it's outrageous now. You guys also always used to give us crap. Now the tables have turned. Sorry about that. But yeah, these are going to be US prices. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. All right, I think that's all I've got. If you enjoyed this video and you want to support my work more than just watching, you can do that by becoming a Patreon supporter or a YouTube channel member. $5 a month or more on either method to support gets into my Discord server, which is a great time. Very fun, a lot of cool people on there, and I'm on there pretty much daily, consistently. So that's a cool little option if you want. If you can't do it financially, I totally understand that. Thank you so much for watching. You know how to share it around and support me without having to pay. So I need to go into that and go verbatim. So anyway, that's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you probably next year on the top 5 or possibly top 10 military surplus rifles under $500 in 2024. Take it easy, guys.